What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at V for Vendetta. Okay, I'm going to speed right through this review, try and make it as short as I possibly can. I overall think that V for Vendetta is an extremely good movie, and given today's social climate, still a very relevant movie because there are certain aspects that take place in this movie that kind of reflect what's been going on recently with the whole George Floyd and Black Lives Matter situation. So, still a socially relevant movie. But how does this movie stand on its own with its own story? I think it's overall really solid. I got some issues with it here and there, but I overall think it's a good effort. So, I'll illustrate my pros and my cons. Pros: Hugo Weaving as the title character of V. I thought Hugo Weaving did a great performance in this movie. I like the fact that Hugo Weaving's face is covered for all throughout this movie, but he can convey so many emotions with his voice and just body posturing. And I think as V, he nailed it perfectly. Natalie Portman plays the character called Evie. I thought Natalie Portman was okay in the role. Her British accent is less than desirable, but I thought she was fine, and her and Weaving have a decent chemistry on screen. This movie also has a very solid supporting cast. You have John Hurt, who plays Adam Sutler, who is the main villain in this movie. Performance-wise, I thought John Hurt was fine. Character-wise, I'll get to that in a second. Other cast members include Stephen Ray, who plays a detective named Finch. I like the Finch character. I like how he's doing an investigation on V, which leads to him uncovering this whole government conspiracy, which leads to him questioning his loyalty to the monarch, to the British monarchy. I thought that was well handled as well. There's a character called Gordon in this movie, played by Stephen Fry. I like the character of Gordon. He's a friend of Evie. I think Stephen Fry gave the character of Gordon a good sarcastic sense of humor, and I enjoyed it. And when his character gets viciously attacked, I feel sorry for him because he was a good character and he came across as a genuine nice person. Production value in this movie is shot and looks great. I thought the director James McTeague did a great job directing this thing. It's got a good visual style. The action scenes are well choreographed. And this movie feels like this movie feels great. You know, it feels like a superhero movie, which is up for debate if you can call V a superhero movie or not a superhero movie. I think it is a superhero movie because the character of V kind of follows the same tropes of a superhero. V is like Batman. He's a vigilante and he's out for justice, his own brand of justice. So V falls under the superhero tropes. So I'm going to call this a superhero movie. So yeah, those are my pros overall, and of course, and the story of this movie is really interesting and it's really well done for what it is. So I thought that aspect was fine. My big problem with this movie is that it lacks a central villain. Now I mentioned that John Hurt plays the title villain, but John Hurt as the villain Adam Sutler, he comes across as just very two-dimensional. There's not really a whole lot of emotional depth to the villain to Adam Sutler as a villain. He comes across more as an ominous presence than an actual force that the hero has to take down. The whole main villain of this movie is the British monarchy, and I think I understand the social commentary you're going for, but I would prefer the vendetta, no pun intended, with V was that of a more personal one, which it is, but I'd like to have more personal parallel connection between V and Adam Sutler, because to me John Hurt is kind of wasted because he just comes across more as a talking head than an actual presence or an actual force. And not only that, yeah, we get brief backstory of Adam Sutler and how he's responsible for taking over the British government. We do get bits and pieces to V's history. You find out that he was given enhanced reflexes and strength due to biotech, due to like a bio something. And so he's pretty much an enhanced human, kind of like a Captain America, with enhanced reflexes and strength because of a bioweapon. Biochemicals made him that way. Human experimentation, which is what the government covered up with this thing called the St. Mary's virus, which killed, like thousands of people, which led to Adam Sutler taking over England. I would have liked to have seen more of that. I would like to have gotten more into Adam Sutler's head, but we don't really get that. And to me, he comes across as just a two-dimensional villain. It's a good performance, but it's weak because I don't feel that there's a connection between Sutler and V. In the books, it's more of a personal connection between these two, and they parallel one another. But in the movie, it just comes across as V just wants to take down the government, but in order to do that, he has to go against, that's it. It's just V wants to take down the government, make them look bad. There's no personal, aside from a couple of people that he goes after here and there. He just wants to prove a point, be an anarchist, pretty much. Now I get, but even though the story in the book is much more deeper and much more gray area, as opposed to this movie, which takes a more black and white approach. I think it's safe to say. But overall, V for Vendetta is a good watch. Strong performances, a really good, interesting, and well-developed story. It has a couple of hiccups here and there, but overall, it's highly, highly enjoyable. I'm going to give it a solid 8 out of 10. I highly recommend V for Vendetta. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.